If there's one thing M. Night Shyamalan's Trap is going to do, it's gaslight, gatekeep, girl dad.
Wait! I gotta tie my shoe.
No dad jokes, this is serious, come on.
I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Lady Genevieve, and on my channel I like to talk about entertainment media. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new M. Night Shyamalan film, Trap, starring the millennial icon himself, Josh Hartnett. The first section is spoiler-free, and the second section will include spoilers, so feel free to click off whenever you prefer. When I saw the trailer for Trap for the first time, initially when the premise was being introduced in it, I thought that the trailer was going to lead to Josh Hartnett leaving his daughter alone at this concert for a moment, and then come back to his seat only to find that his daughter has gone missing and he's going to need to find her, and inevitably lead to some sort of classic M. Night Shyamalan twist. But once the trailer carried on, I was shocked to learn that the trailer would in fact have a plot twist play out before our eyes. The plot twist being that Josh Hartnett is a serial killer, and the whole concert is a trap that law enforcement have set up in the hopes of finding him, arresting him, sending him to jail, and prison. Now, of course, I was thinking there's still that possibility of a twist coming through at some point in the story. Maybe there are aliens, a secret society, a cult. You just never know when it comes to M. Night Shyamalan. Many things are possible. Having said that though, by and large, Trap is a straightforward thriller. It's also one of the most fun times I've ever had watching a Shyamalan film. Of course, a fair bit of that comes from things like the premise, the story, the stylish filmmaking, but by far the number one reason to watch Trap is Josh Hartnett. Josh Hartnett truly ate. He devoured this role. There was a part in the movie where they did a close-up shot on his face when his character is in the arena with his daughter. He knows the feds are after him at this point, and he doesn't know where or how to escape. And during this close-up, what does Josh Hartnett do? A single eye twitch. And not only that, an eye twitch so powerful, I came this close to screaming out loud, Academy Award! Josh Hartnett carries this movie on his strong dad shoulders, the way he carried his daughter so that she could try to see her favorite pop star entering this arena. And I think we should all thank him for that. I think part of the reason why it's so much fun to watch Josh Hartnett's character, Cooper, be this menacing serial killer is because you don't actually see him doing the crimes he's being hunted for. When you think about films or television series that cover this concept, the examples that come to mind usually show the killer doing horrific things to their victims. In this case, you will see that he's got someone trapped in an undisclosed location, and you will see crime scene photos of where he's dumped past victims, but the story is not only about those violent crimes. I've had a bit of an up and down with M. Night Shyamalan. I don't automatically assume that I'm going to love whatever his new film is, but I am always interested to see what he's going to make because he remains determined to do his own ideas instead of making a product that is simply constructed by a committee. Perhaps controversially, I enjoyed Old. Admittedly, I was biased towards wanting to see it the instant I saw that Gael Garcia Bernal would be starring in it. Gael has never phoned it in. He always gives his work 200%.
Why? Why am I surrounded by these dramatic people all the time? Why?
During the Old era, I remember skimming an interview from Shyamalan about the inspiration for that story, and he was saying something about being on holiday with his family and experiencing this feeling of watching his children grow up and feeling like the time is flying by. They grow up really fast, and this was a sort of emotional seed from which the story of Old grew. And I kept that in mind over the years since I found it to be quite interesting, and that has definitely shaped how I analyze Trap. When I watch Trap, I see a girl dad going through it. If you didn't already know this, M. Night Shyamalan is a certified girl dad. He has 3 children, and they are all daughters. Girl dad Cooper, played by Josh Hartnett, is very much the epitome of girl dad. Something you don't learn until further into the film's runtime is that Cooper has another child. It's not just his daughter, Riley. Riley has a younger brother, but he's barely in the story, and there really isn't much in the way of emotional weight interwoven into him having a story of his own. Although the main plot we see in Trap Trap, and more so in the marketing, is this thriller and suspense of this butcher trying to not be caught by the feds. There is a lot in the story to show how much Cooper loves his daughter, and he's concerned about making sure she has a good time at this concert he's brought her to. What I ultimately extrapolated from that is this idea that Trap is ultimately about that feeling of not wanting to let your own character flaws negatively impact your child, and the horror element of the story is the futility of Cooper's attempts to keep that from his daughter. He's trapped in an arena, every exit is surrounded by feds, the walls are closing in, and once he's caught, there will simply be no way to keep this massive secret from Riley. And that for me is the strongest emotional dimension of this story. There are a few other threads in the story that I have varied responses to, and a lot of my thoughts about the film do include spoilers, but I will share a few other points while we are still in this spoiler-free territory. In a general sense, this film did not have enough Hayley Mills. They did not make good enough use of her skills. When I had looked up Trap in the lead up to its release and I saw Hayley Mills' name listed, I was so excited because I grew up watching her. That was one of, if not the first teen queen I ever saw from Hollywood films. She was in a bunch of Disney films that were released back in the 1960s. I saw her Parent Trap before I ever saw Lindsay Lohan's Parent Trap. M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Saleka, is another prominent performer in the story. She plays Lady Raven, who is this pop star Cooper's daughter Riley is a fan of and wanted to come see in concert. I can tell that a fair bit of this film's budget went towards the expenses of putting together a concert, booking this arena, making outfits, hiring dancers, and she does make for a convincing pop girly that tween fans would look up to. Saleka also wrote all the songs that her character, Lady Raven, performs, and I think it's highly evident that she has put in the hours and years of labor into developing her craft as a music artist. If you want my overall rating, you might know this already if you follow me on Letterboxd, but I landed on 4 out of 5 stars. The number was moving around as I watched the film, but that was where I ended up settling once I had seen the entire film and did my calculations of all the feedback I had for various moving parts. I also want to give an honorable mention to Jamie, the merchandise stand employee, whom you will already know about if you've seen the Trap trailer.
You know the butcher? The freaking nut job that goes around just chopping people up?
I thought he was so much fun to watch. Actor Jonathan Langdon was a great scene stealer for the few bits that he had in the film, and I hope that after this he's able to get booked for more things because it is hard to be a working actor, and he more than proved he is capable of entertaining the people who come and watch this film. Make no mistake though, Josh Hartnett is the star, and if it weren't for the fact that this genre and Shyamalan as a filmmaker are not typically regarded as being an option for award show bait, I would be demanding that Josh Hartnett be getting some nominations. The way Cooper is sneaking around and switching up his energy and persona depending on what he's trying to do, where he's trying to go, and how desperate he's becoming, it was just terrific fun to watch. I cannot emphasize how much fun I had watching this cat and mouse game of Cooper trying to escape this arena. I was downright giddy wanting to see whatever it was he was going to do next because make no mistake, Cooper is a strategic stunt queen. He will do some unhinged things just to try to get out of there, but he has to be discreet about it. Let me instigate a commotion over there so that I can sneak around in the opposite direction. It's like we're getting all the tension of a really good 2000s thriller with the fun of being a child watching Looney Tunes cartoons. That's where I was at emotionally, watching him get up to his antics in the arena. Now, if you haven't already watched Trap, I recommend that you do so, but now I am going to have to talk about spoilers because I cannot fully explain how I rated it unless I get into the specifics.
What's happening?
I think you're looking for me.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry. Sorry.
I would like to address the girl dad in the room, the girl dad of it all. M. Night Shyamalan unleashed every bit of girl dad energy to make this movie. He wanted to give one of his daughters the main stage to make her into a pop girly, and as a result, we now have this movie. Now, in regards to the pop star material, I was fine with all of that. It worked very well, it was believable, it set this really good backdrop for this fun thriller of watching Josh Hartnett try not to completely unravel while realizing the walls are closing in on him. But once we approached the end of the time time in the arena. The girl dad of it all, it went too far. Now let me explain. If you've seen the film, you already know what happened, but just in case you're watching this because you don't care about being spoiled, Cooper's final move to get out of the arena is to confess that he's the one the feds are looking for, and more specifically, he confesses this to Lady Raven so that he can threaten to get rid of the person he's currently holding captive with his handy-dandy murder app if Lady Raven doesn't take Cooper and his daughter Riley out of the arena, because she is the only one that can get them out without him having to be questioned by the feds in the process. So she agrees to do this. They drive out and Cooper is all, "Thanks, bestie, just drop us off here. Our car is nearby." And what does Lady Raven do? She goes, "Hey, Riley, how about I go to your house?" And immediately I just stopped and went, "Excuse me, what?" Because this was where the movie started to spiral downward for me. I want to ask my regular viewers, especially if any of you are women of color, please tell me, if you were taken hostage by a violent serial killer and all he wanted was a ride and then he went, "Okay, just drop me off right here," would you let him go and then let the professionals handle going after this scary man? Or would you forcibly invite yourself to his house? It was so baffling to watch. This was very much a "what white nonsense is this" moment, except the character doing this was not even white. And if that wasn't enough to throw me off of being able to buy into the story and believe what was happening, it got worse. Not only does Lady Raven go to the house, she proceeds to play cat and mouse with Cooper of trying to expose him to his family. And this was very hard for me to watch because, well, I want to be very clear when I explain this next part. Saleka does not currently have the acting skills to be able to play the material she was given and deliver a believable performance, especially when she is acting directly opposite Josh Hartnett, who is giving one of my favorite performances I've seen all year as this unhinged killer. Josh Hartnett has decades of experience in acting, of acting on camera, of acting in the horror genre, of being first on the call sheet, and Saleka does not have that same amount of experience, and that's evident. Remember how I said that she has clearly put in the hours and years of labor developing her craft in music? Well, I cannot say the same for her abilities as an actor. Acting is a skill that requires a lot of hours and training and experience to be able to do the material that was given to the part of this story for her character. Now, if she decides that she's really determined to not just do music but also do acting, she more than has the funds and resources to take any and all acting classes and train and develop more of those skills to where she would absolutely be able to perform this type of material and make me believe it. But does everyone remember when Harry Styles was being given a whole lot of grief for his performance in Don't Worry, Darling? I find this to be a somewhat similar situation where you are taking someone who is very experienced in music and has proven themselves to have skills in that area, but then they're cast to play a character that has to be believable in performing this very specific type of dramatic emotional tension, and it's something very advanced. You're doing these performers a disservice by pushing them into the deep end too soon. I think that these performers can play material that is less demanding on them, something that is closer to who they are themselves and what's already in their wheelhouse, but this is something that they need to work their way up to. And I also really want to emphasize that acting on camera is an extremely technical skill set that is better accomplished when you have a lot of training and experience. And I will give you an example of this. You have to modify your acting within a single scene that you're filming multiple takes of, depending on where the camera is. How close of a shot is it? Because, for example, if you're doing a close-up shot where you really only see the face, you need to concentrate the acting to only be taking place in your face. The audience is not going to see your body. But if you're doing a shot where your body is visible, then of course you're going to gesticulate accordingly. And the camera sees everything. If you are not completely authentic and believable in your delivery, if you are thinking too hard about emoting the emotion you're supposed to be performing in this moment, the camera can see that you're doing that. Now, I do not have a problem with M. Night Shyamalan nepo babying his daughters into their careers, because as someone who has followed that group, for the most part, those girls have been putting in work, and I'm aware of that. They've been developing their skills in directing and screenwriting and in performing and writing music. However, acting on camera and being expected to keep up with Josh Hartnett when he is devouring everything in sight, I'm afraid M. Night Shyamalan girl dadded too close to the sun. You, sir, had your rose-tinted glasses on and you were giving her too much on her plate. You should have pulled back to something that can challenge her so she can strengthen her skills, but is also also within her capabilities of where she is at right now as a performer. And again, I want to be fair about this. In however many years from now, if she keeps up this work on developing as an actor, she might be able to do this very material at the standard it requires, but it simply was not there this time. But if we compare it to something like Dua Lipa, who got feedback for her Go Girl Give Us Nothing performances, Dua Lipa went and trained really hard, and now her ability to perform and put on a show for the audience is significantly higher, and people don't roast her like that anymore. So that's the example you should follow. When I was watching Trap and we were following Josh Hartnett through all the stuff in the arena in all his strategic stunt queen glory, I was up, I was going, yes, this is feeling very 4.5 stars to me. What a treat. And then when we got to the stuff in the house where Lady Raven is trying to act, I went, oh no, what is happening? It was all going so well, and now we're on a downward spiral. I'm thinking somewhere around 3.5 stars. Sugar, we're going down swinging. Another point I want to add, I am flabbergasted that we had little to no interaction between Hayley Mills and Josh Hartnett. Hayley Mills plays the profiler that's basically in charge of the entire FBI investigation, and this is an archetype the movie-going audiences will be familiar with. You have your Clarice and you have your Hannibal, and yet they just didn't really interact in the film, which was such a weird choice to me. Once they started to more clearly reveal that Cooper has mommy issues, I was appalled that they had Lady Raven trying to mommy talk him. I wanted to levitate right out of my seat because of how badly delivered and unconvincing it was. I couldn't buy into what was happening at all. It didn't make sense. Even if it had been acted properly, it made no sense for this pop star who has sat in on what? One debriefing, and she just magically remembered all this trivia about the unsub? Absolutely not. And here's the thing. If Cooper has mommy issues, and you want to deploy that tactic of having a woman mommy talk him, scold him, tell him he's being a bad boy, that he's always been a bad boy, mess with his head to throw him off his game, why would you not have Hayley Mills do that? She is the correct age to be seen as a maternal figure to this grown man who is married with 2 children. It's literally her job. And Hayley Mills is an icon, a legend. She's been acting since before Josh Hartnett was even born. It would have been incredible to see her getting into his head by mommy talking him, and he could be having these flashes of cutting back and forth between seeing Hayley Mills, but also seeing the actress who played his mother. It would have been so good. Just let me watch this man unravel, because Pollyanna over here is hacking into his brain. But as I already said, I landed on 4 stars. So how did we get there? Well, let me inform all of you who might be new here. My favorite Bong Joon-ho film is Snowpiercer. And do you know who was in Snowpiercer? Alison Pill. I had no idea Miss Allison was in this movie because she was not in the trailer. But when they rolled the opening credits and I saw her name, I went, oh, she's in this? Oh, we are going to get some acting. And yes, she did in fact deliver. She plays Cooper's wife. And after Lady Raven has had her run of unconvincing acting, we get one final face-off where Cooper comes home to his wife, Rachel. He snuck back into the house. And this is after it's been fully revealed. The feds know that it's him. They are on the hunt for him specifically. Rachel has sent the kids to stay with their aunt, and Cooper sneaks back in to confront Rachel because he has been able to figure out that she was involved somehow. And she does admit to him that she figured out he was probably the butcher, and she was the one that left a clue for the police to figure out that he was going to be at the Lady Raven concert. This scene between them is so good, and it was exactly what I needed to see after all the bad acting. It brought me right back into the story, into this world, the stakes and dramatic tension that have been building over this entire runtime. And this is where we once again see what it means to have an experienced actor on screen, someone that is a master of their craft. Remember how I said before that Josh Hartnett had a close-up with an eye twitch, and I immediately wanted to give him an Academy Award for that? Well, during this scene between Rachel and Cooper, there is a close-up on Rachel's face. And Alison Pill, she is acting phenomenally. The emotional devastation and fear of sitting at the dinner table with her butcher husband, of knowing he plans to make her his next victim. During this close-up shot, her chin is quivering, and oh my god, the acting. The acting was so good in this movie from Josh Hartnett and Alison Pill. They really came through to save the movie at the very end from a 3.5 star rating. The acting was so phenomenal that it made me go, you know what? I need to find time to take another acting class. I've taken acting classes. I love getting to work on a character and memorize lines. I just love it so much. And it's made me so appreciative of getting to watch great acting when I set to see a new film. Josh Hartnett and Alison Pill really saved this film at the very end, and that's why we brought things back up to a 4-star rating. I would like to hear an explanation of why Josh Hartnett was shirtless in that scene. He takes his top off when he's preparing to take out Rachel, and I was stunned because if this was a different situation, I might have thought, oh, well, he doesn't want to get blood on his clothes because he needs to be able to get home without arousing suspicion along the way. But he's already home. I'm sure all his other clothes are still there. And then I thought, well, maybe he doesn't want to ruin his clothes because then he'll have to throw them away. But if he doesn't want to have to throw away clothes because there's blood on them, why wouldn't he also take off his trousers? Did M. Night Shyamalan have Josh Hartnett get shirtless purely for the viewing pleasure of the millennials? That's not a secret he'll ever tell. XOXO, man flesh. What I really want to know, though, in all seriousness, is whether or not he's trying to make a sequel for this, because when they did the thing at the end with the bike, ooh, the reaction from the audience was audible. When they loaded up Cooper into the van and then they did that slow pan from the fence back towards the bike and then the camera was moving in towards the wheel, I went, oh, because of course there was a missing piece that Cooper had grabbed and slipped up his sleeve, so he is able to pick the lock of his handcuffs. So what? He's out now? Is he going to escape? Is he going on the run? I don't know what the story idea would be for a sequel, but yes, if the inspiration is there, I will in fact be there on opening day to watch Josh Hartnett be a menace. Please give me another round with my strategic stunt queen. Oh, and the Kid Cudi cameo, that was something I was not ready for, but I had so much fun with. The wig was doing everything, and the fact that he's there to perform one song, give attitude, and make flirtatious faces at Josh Hartnett, and he got paid for that? Some people are living my dream, all right?
You're kind of dope, right?